Okay, we're going to just review what we just finished doing. We first sectioned off 5+ part section, and then after that we dropped our guide, which was 1 inch. We cut the back of the ear to the back of the ear with a razor. We cut about a 1/2 inch off. We haven't touched the sides yet, and remember I said the sides and the crown area and the front sides and the top will be cut with scissors. It's just the nape for your state board haircut. And right here at the nape, you're making vertical subsections, and you comb it. Take your comb and put the teeth into the scalp area coming out, holding. That's your holding angle. Place your comb under your thumb and hold it straight out and cut up. You drop your guide and then cut above it. Any questions so far? There's your guide. There's a short piece, and I drop the guide and then cut above it at 45 degrees. Now what determines the angle? You're combing the hair straight out from the head. So this is straight out. Comb under. The fingers is your holding angle. That is the 45 degree. Drop and cut.
So your fingers are not straight across. They're really slanted.
They're not this. They're slanted at a 45.
Okay.
So that's your holding angle. Straight out and come up. Now, as we are going around the head, I'm moving my body.
Move the head this way.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now
And then to come around that way.
Drop my guide and come up.
And when you're cutting with the razor, you go up, not just straight over, right?
Yeah, I'm going up. Drop my guide and come up. Okay. Now we're going to drop the next section, and that should be my last section that I will be cutting with a razor, because we're cresting the top of the ear. But see, I want to make it lined up all the way across. So I'm just going to get one more section. Now sometimes you might, on your mannequin, it might be 2 sections, it might be 3. Don't judge it according to the way I've done this mannequin, because I try to make these sections a little bit smaller, about a 1/2 inch that I'm dropping, so that you could see what I was doing, especially with the razor. Is this angle okay? Can you see, or do I need to move the head? Okay, coming out, drop, and cut above. Drop your guide and cut above it. Try to keep the hair combed as straight as possible. And then go up.
Are they supposed to be short up like that?
Yeah, it's layered.
It's a section down right there.
This is the section I was talking about that is short behind the ear.
Yeah, because we haven't did the side yet.
Mm. Okay, and I'm going to continue all the way across to the back of the ear. So always stand in front of what you're cutting. On the mannequin, you can just pick her head up and turn it, or move your body with the mannequin. Or on a live person, though, you know they're sitting in a revolving chair, so you can pump her up, turn her around, but make sure it's close to eye level when you're cutting the hair. Now we're getting ready to drop the next section. I'm going to drop it over the ear. first of all, I dropped that before I thought that we haven't got our guide yet. We haven't trimmed it with the scissors. So now we're getting ready. We'll lay our razor down and we'll pick up our scissors. Oh, where mine's at? I thought it was mine. Okay. I want to make sure that they're even on both sides. So I'm bringing them straight down. Because we haven't got our guide yet on the front. So bring it straight down and cut at 0. Well, that looks to me like it's already almost where it needs to be in proportion with the back. So I'm just going to trim this just a little bit. Okay, because what I'm looking at is that in proportion to this length that's back here, it's going to fall in line. Because this mannequin's hair has already previously been cut. And I'm going to go ahead and drop this about a ½ inch, like I said, all the way around the head. I'm going to do that first so I can just continue to work. Can you see this? Can you see this? Comb it straight out. Now we're going 90 degrees. The fingers are straight up and down. Drop your guide and cut straight up. So your holding angle, like I said.
Cutting the hair too, you just cut with the razor.
No, I'm dropping it. That was your guide. I'm cutting. See, that is the part that you're dropping. You're cutting above that. You don't recut what you've already cut. It becomes your guide. So then I start cutting after it drops out.
Going up as you cut.
Uh-huh. Because it's straight up. And my fingers are straight up also. That's my holding angle. What we talked about before is, 0, 45, and 90 degrees. Any questions so far? What's that?
Part the hair with the clip.
I don't.
I wouldn't. You ain't sure. 'Cause
Uh,
it might be something you do, then you get points off for doing it.
Yeah, I haven't heard that you get points off.
They can, 'cause I've seen it on YouTube. They got them part of the clips.
I'm talking about for state board though, for like passing
Yeah,
state board.
before state board exams. They got part of the clips.
So you got to see.
They got the procedures.
Yeah.
And they're using scripts and stuff.
Okay.
You got somebody demonstrating like what's Martin doing.
Yeah.
Is it the same stuff?
Okay, we're going to make a ½ inch subsection, comb it straight out from the head, and go up. Drop your guide and cut above it. This hair is falling my way.
You got this strand right here too.
Mm-hmm. Okay, is it becoming a little bit clearer to you as far as your angles? What's 0, what's 45, what's 90?
Yeah, it just kind of threw me off a little
I
bit. You
still
had your
have a
fingers
problem with
slanted.
them angles.
I thought your
Yeah.
fingers would be straight at all times. I thought the angles were just the way you hair down, hair out, hair up. I didn't know it was like with your fingers too.
Mm-hmm. About the holding angle.
That's what got me.
Continuing our state board haircut, moving up the head, and we're just cutting whatever's on the outside of our guide that we have brought up from the previously cut hair, and walking it around the head. Trying to use 1/2 inch subsections, and we're cutting vertical. Try not to get too much hair to cut at one time. That's the reason I say a 1/2 inch subsection works better. And then walk it around the head. And keep walking around till we complete this section of the head. Once we have completed this part, we move to the front. Do you have any questions about what we've already done thus far? So, review. We went 0 at the nape, followed with a razor from back of ear to back of ear, and dropped down the next 1/2 inch subsection and cut it at what angle?
45.
And then we moved up to the next section and cut it at what?
90.
If it crested the top of the ear. You don't cut at 90 until you get at the top of that ear. And then you start incorporating your sides, do you not?
Yes.
And that's cut at 90 as well. And you do that all the way up to the top of the head. Now we're going to drop down our guide in front. And what are we going to cut this first guide at? 0, and with what is it? What implement are we using? Correct. Now, since I have previously cut this, I may just cut just a little bit off, but not much. And then I am tying in my side at an angle and just trimming that excess so that it will blend. I like a little face framing. It's not required at State Board, but it just makes it look more blended. Okay, and then we follow this on through to the other side, doing the same thing.
Come on, do you need some more water?
Yes. Thank you. Okay, now we drop down. How wide of a section? Everybody listening? 1/2 inch, and what we're going to, how we're going to cut it?
45 degrees.
Okay. And you're using what as your guide?
The base.
Yes, what you previously cut. So you're coming right here and cutting. And you cut like so. Now that's already been cut, so I'm not cutting that again. But that would be where I would make my cut. Okay, then I drop the next section, another 1/2 inch subsection. And this time, where am I going to cut it at? 90 degrees. Which is, what's the holding angle on that?
Straight up.
Straight up. So your guide is falling out. But remember that wherever you're at on the head is where your holding angle is going to be. So since this was a curved plane, you had it down here, you went out, and then you kept going up like this. Drop another 1/2 inch. And we continue cutting at what degree? Okay, straight up. And we're cutting, holding it straight up at 90 degrees. Okay, after I complete this, now we move on to doing what? What is our next step? Checking. Okay. So how do we check this haircut? First, before normally we couldn't turn a client upside down, but on a mannequin you can. But here, before we do that, we're going to part it down the center and walk it around the sides, checking to make sure that our corners are even. And when I say corners, it's where your top hair is meeting that side section. And if there's a corner, you're just going to hold it up and trim that in just to match it. It's not going to be a major cut there. It's just you might have a corner there. And you're just blending it. I don't see one there.
This morning, we lost you. Look. No, she's catching where she's cutting.
You lost me? Okay. Okay. All right, here's a corner here. We're blending it to meet the top and the side. So that if you want your haircut to be well blended all around, where the top and the sides are going into the other without having a corner to it. Do you have any questions so far about how to do this? Okay. Now it's at this time that if you was at the board and you have finished your haircut, you have went around and checked it like this, you can, since it was a vertical haircut, you can go back and check it horizontal. This is how you're supposed to check your haircut anyway, is check it on a live client, on your mannequin, and you check it horizontal as you're walking it up the head and make sure the ends are even.